How do you follow up a 5-0 win? Well, you do it by going to Blackburn. Welcome to the preview show. This is Blue Monday, an Ipswich Town podcast. More of the same, we hope, Seb, is how you follow up a 5-0 win. Welcome, mate.
Very much so, yeah. I mean, some idiot sat here a week ago tonight and said they thought it might be a cagey draw against Sheffield United under the lights at Portman Road. So feel free to bury me in the chat, everybody, for that one. But as you say, you've got to follow it up. You want to go again, and we'll discuss what we're going to do towards the end of the show. But I doubt there's too many people that would change anything at all.
How much has events at Bramall Lane since the game not taken the shine off, but made you reassess quite how good that brilliant 5-0 win was?
Yeah, I mean, look, we didn't have to work overly hard for it. We were excellent on the night, obviously. Me and Rich sat here and said, is he going to get fired if he loses? And I think we both kind of said he probably needs a bit of time to do what he wants to do, but the manner of the defeat meant he hadn't got a leg to stand on. It was no surprise that Ruben Sellers was dismissed. Even at the end, when they all went over to the Sheffield United fans, he kind of hung back. He wasn't applauding. He wasn't doing the hands up and apologising thing. It was a rerun of away at Middlesbrough. So no surprise that he did get the sack. And look, we were excellent at times. We really exploited their weaknesses, and McKenna just showed him up, didn't he? And he was very praising of him in the post-match press conference, but he identified the technical deficiencies in their team, massively exploited it, and it was an epic win, a really good performance, but there were some glaring issues with their side that we just took full advantage of.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's going to be quite like that at the weekend, and the timing was very nice. Welcome to Blue Monday and Ipswich Town podcast. I am indeed not Richard, but I am doing God's work here and standing in for Richard, who I think has got work commitments here. So we're really, really pleased to have you all here. And live, we're talking about Blackburn Rovers versus Ipswich Town coming up in round 6 of the EFL Championship. I say this every year, Seb. I say, be Easter before you know it. Don't wish it away, and we'll be in the running thick and fast. Welcome everybody. Get your views in the comments on what Seb's got to talk about here in terms of Blackburn. We'll try and run it like the normal preview show. I say this every time I'm on. I don't want to be a poor man's Rich, so we might go off on slightly different tangents and do it slightly differently. But yeah, that's only out of reverence for the great man who's not indeed here tonight. Where do you want to start then, Seb? I've got news at the top of the running order here.
Yeah, let's just do a bit of news. Very, very quiet week in the world of ITFC and football in general. I guess the European games for the Premier League clubs are taking the focus, so very little news. Worth mentioning that ITFC women are away this weekend. They're away on Sunday to Charlton. That's
struggling a bit, right?
Tough game. Yeah, it's a tough game that they're going to face. Well, Charlton are currently top of WSL2. I think they finished 4th or 3rd last season. Obviously, they've won their first 2 games this year. That's why they're top. And obviously, ITFC women lost away at Southampton, lost at home to Nottingham Forest last weekend. So it's going to be a tough weekend, but after this one, it's back-to-back games at home against Portsmouth and away at Sheffield United, and hopefully that's a chance to start picking up some points. So yeah, I think there's a bus going down for the supporters club, etc., down to Charlton. So if you can make it, get yourselves down to the Valley and cheer the women on Sunday. And that is it for the news. We'll just go straight into Blackburn because, as I said, it's been a very quiet weekend. Last season, high flying for an awful lot of the season. Lost John Eustace just after the January window. I think he made his feelings quite clear on the strategy in that January window. And I've got them down in my kind of top cliff notes as a season of transition, given Ishmael's come in, didn't start amazingly, then recovered very well. They narrowly missed out on the top 6. They're pretty consistent in that respect the last few seasons, apart from one kind of anomaly where they drop further down. And I just think transfer strategy, a new boss trying to gel, we've heard that word a lot recently, trying to gel the squad and get his ideas across. I think they're in for a season of transition. Do you agree with that, with your championship head on?
Well, I find Blackburn quite hard to judge because when you run every championship club through the great Harry from Bath's owners relegate clubs kind of statement, which I've kind of successfully managed to steal as my own over recent years since Harry stopped appearing on the pod, which I'm quite proud of. You tend to have Blackburn along with sort of Watford, and I know Sheffield Wednesday's gone mad, as kind of badly run, don't you? And I remember we had, it was brilliant. What was the lad's name we had on the channel previewing it? I can't remember the guy's name. He was really, really good from the Blackburn podcast, letting us know the problems that they had with Venky's and not the old problems from, way back when with Steve Keane and chickens running on the pitch and all of that stuff. But, literally problems getting money out of India and into Ewood Park. And it always feels like it's going to be a disaster. And yet they always seem to be quite high up the table, strangely, Seb. Do you kind of concur?
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember that video with that chap, and I'm sure he kept using the phrase that they had to basically sell players to keep the lights on, didn't they? The sales the money they generate from the sales.
Dan was
Dan,
his
that's
name.
it, Dan. Yeah.
Dan.
The money they use from those sales is basically used to keep the club going. So they've kind of become sort of self-sufficient and sustainable in a way. I mean, Venky's have been there now. It must be, is it 15 years? It was late, maybe 2010, 2009 was it? They went in, yeah.
It was a bit earlier than that, yeah.
Relegated again down to League One. Tony Mowbray brings them back up. They want a change of playing style. John Dahl Thomason comes in, kind of falls out with people. John Eustace goes in, doing a good job and moves on. And then Valerie Ishmael sort of comes in the spring of last year, February February just gone, February 25. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll go down. I've got no issues with them being in a relegation scrap, but 3 of the last 4 seasons they've kind of finished between 7th and 9th. I think that would be punching this season. I think was it 19th the year we got promoted out of the Championship, and that's probably maybe more realistic for this season given the players they've brought in and, more importantly, the players they've kind of let go this summer.
Well, that season we got promoted, Seb, obviously we'll talk about Smodics later, but they could have gone down that season. Smodics saved them very late on. Can I just push back on you don't have them going down? Because I'm kind of looking at the bottom of the Championship at the moment. And all I will say is Blackburn have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places between them and the bottom 3. And below them are Sheffield United, Wrexham, Derby, and I'll go like that for Watford. Can you see where I'm going with this? Who I think can all finish higher than Blackburn. So what's your response to that? Because I can see them. I know I've just said Blackburn always do me wrong and they'll probably end up like 11th or something like that. But I can see them being lower than they are now. But what's your take?
Well, I guess sadly for Sheffield Wednesday fans, we're all assuming one relegation spot is gone, aren't we? Unfortunately, they're this year's kind of disaster in the league. And then I think Blackburn have got enough about them to get further ahead in the table than the likes of Hull, Oxford, potentially. Do you think that's fair? And therefore they can. Yeah. But those 3 in theory should maybe occupy the bottom end of the table, and they should just about get across the line. I think if they can finish somewhere between 16th and 20th in a transitional season and bed some of these new players in and get them used to the league, then that'll probably do for them this year, given the challenges they face with the players they've lost.
Yeah. What did you make then? Because I thought Eustace was doing a really, really good job there, as he tends to do at most Championship clubs, and he did a pretty good job of engineering that move out to Derby without necessarily. Smodics managed to do the same thing. I think you can get out of Blackburn if you politic it quite well, and I think Eustace and Smodics both managed to kind of do the same thing there. But it was obviously something that Eustace wanted to do in terms of going and managing Derby County. But you can't constantly be switching managers midway through the season. And then with Mowbray, the previous year, it was like his contract was running down and he went into the pressers and said, I don't know whether I'm getting a new contract or not. I assume I'm not. So, it's been a bit unstable manager-wise, hasn't it?
Yeah, very much so. And I guess sometimes you look at managerial appointments, don't you, and you think that's reflective of maybe the upper echelons of the club not having the most joined up thinking. I mean, John Dahl Thomason came in, and that was a very different playing style to they replaced him with John Eustace, didn't they? And it's
drew for like 40 games or something.
Yeah, and then Eustace comes in, who is more towards maybe the more pragmatic kind of side of things. So yeah, I mean, I didn't realize until doing the research for this show that Rudy Gested is the the guy that always scored headers.
Yeah.
He's the director of football there, and he's been quite vocal in the last few weeks towards the end of the transfer window about where the club is with transfers and freebies that are coming in and loans and the contract situations of players that's expiring. So yeah, like you say, it's not sustainable to keep changing your manager every spring and hope you get a bounce or get across the line. Eustace engineered his exit from Blackburn pretty well. Like you said, he's got family ties to the Midlands. He's got a former link with Derby as well. So I guess the fact they were fifth or sixth, were they? And the day he left to go to Derby, who were towards the bottom of the league, kind of shows his longer term thinking and longer term chance of success was much more fruitful making that move to the East Midlands. And yeah, they've brought in Valerie Ishmael. We could talk about him now if you want. Great body of work, obviously at at Barnsley, getting them into the playoffs. Yeah, part of Connor Chaplin in the squad. And then Watford didn't really work out. West Brom were in the playoffs, I think, when they fired him, but would they have been a parachute club at that side and therefore had higher designs, maybe?
Yeah, actually, someone will keep talking and I'll check that. Yes, I think, but maybe year 2. Oh no, was that their year 1? I can check that out for you right now.
He was sacked in February 2022, so it's the 21-22 season, the Paul Cook, Kieran McKenna season, for reference to ourselves. And
they were in the Premier League playoffs, in 2020-21. And yeah, if you actually, I'm now remembering because he bought DK in for a lot of money from Barnsley and Mowat as well. So they basically did that. They backed the wrong horse, really, didn't they? Because Barnsley were an outlier team that punched above their weight to get in the playoffs, and they took the manager and the best team. I know DK wasn't actually at Barnsley; he was there on loan. But do you know what I mean? It was taking those players. He's a bit of a strange one to judge, Seb, in answer to your question, because the Barnsley thing happened very quickly, and as much as people get cross with me when I say it, the COVID season was absolutely unique. Now, I'm not saying anyone's achievements are better or worse. I'm just saying it was a very, very unique time, wasn't it? And I think with the 5 subs, and let's call it for what it is. I'm not slagging it off. It was long ball football. It was. I loved it at the time because we hadn't seen anything like that for a long while. And then West Brom was vaguely similar, but I got the idea that he fell out with the higher-ups at West Brom. Although, to be fair, there's been an ownership change at West Brom since then. So I don't think all was well in terms of the top end of the club there. And I've got to say, Seb, I went to Watford and saw Ipswich win. Was it 2-1? It was 2-1, wasn't it? And Morsey scored the winner right at the end of the game. And I came away thinking, hey, Watford are all right. He's doing an okay job here. So I don't know how good he is. Do you know what I mean? It's a very, very weird hodgepodge, but you can't argue that he has been clearly sacked twice in championship jobs. What's your kind of summings up of him?
Well, I had the exact same outcome. I couldn't work out if he was good or not. I thought great body of work at Barnsley, getting them into the playoffs. That side then got picked apart, as tends to happen to sides that are perhaps underachieving at a certain level. And then Watford, I think he was fired off the back of 1 win in 10 or 1 win in 9, maybe. So he clearly couldn't.
Didn't they give him a new contract like 2 months before, and then it was peak Potso, yeah.
Yeah, it rings a bell. And then had to obviously pay him off and sack him. And then the West Brom thing seemed to be more around, was it style of play? Because, like I said, they were 5th. They were in the playoffs at the time. But I remember...
Yeah, but what did they think they were hiring?
Well, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't think the fan base were overly enamoured with the kind of more pragmatic, more sort of long ball style of football. So that might have built base. So you could argue even at that one, he's done a reasonable
ridiculous
job.
They had... Who did they have?
They had Allardyce in the Premier League. They had Tony Pulis.
Allardyce, Pulis. Yeah, what are you moaning about? Just win.
Yeah, but they were in the playoffs at the time of his sacking. So I can't decide, like you, I can't decide if he's any good. He's been there for 18 games. He's won 6. He's drawn 3. He's lost 9. He's got 1.17 points per game, which across a season gets you 54, which gets you the right side of the line probably 9 out of 10 seasons, but not
the last couple.
Yeah.
Or very close to the last couple. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's certainly squeaky bum time going into that Easter period, crucial running sort of time of the season. So yeah, I'm unsure as well. We know he likes to play sort of that longer ball, high intensity, high energy kind of football. I would suggest
it's changed a bit, wasn't it? Because when he came in I think it was you've almost seen a complete what's the word, tapering off of it. Because Barnsley, it was mental. It was literally boot it down the pitch and press the hell out of everybody and then sub everybody off and keep doing it. West Brom was kind of that, but okay, I'm at a parachute club now. We can't go too crazy. Watford, I thought they tried to, I thought he'd clearly come with a new kind of identity. And the pressing is all still there, but Blackburn don't boot it down the pitch. And we're going to be talking about these, kind of nippy 2 Japanese strikers they've got, finishers, running behind. You're not going to boot the ball at them and expect them against Greaves and O'Shea to win everything in the air. So I think there has been a change, Seb, and we're talking 5 years of. So you would expect a manager to change. I'd hope McKenna would evolve and change a bit over a 5-year period too.
Yeah, we'll discuss the stats later on in the show, but they certainly aren't kind of, number one for long ball or anything. So maybe that shows a kind of adaptation of the ways. Let me give you the state of play, like we always try and start with the show with, to give guys and girls who are listening
an
idea
a big foot
where they
15 minutes before you get to that.
Don't worry, it's all right. They're currently sat 16th with 6 points. They played 5, won 2, haven't drawn, lost 3, scored 5 goals, conceded 5 goals, goal difference of 0. The victories were a 3-0 victory over Hull and a 1-0 victory last time away at Watford, and they lost to Norwich, Birmingham and West Brom. They are winless at home. They haven't won at home yet this season. They lost the Birmingham and the Norwich games at Ewood Park, scored 1 goal at home and conceded 4. And we kind of briefly touched on last season. They finished 7th on 66 points, 2 points outside of the playoffs. It was kind of the third year, as I said, third year out of 4. They finished somewhere between 8th and sort of 7th and 9th. So very, very consistent, apart from the year we just mentioned with John Dahl Thomason and John Eustace, where they dropped right down the table. And the big talking point of that year was John Eustace leaving to join Derby in February this year, and Valerie Ishmael to come in. Me and Rich normally play a game. I think it was Neil in the chat came up with the excellent name of Bit of Both. And what I do is I'm going to give you 5. We have to pay Dave Diamond a royalty every time we say it. So Rich lets me say it once per show.
I'm going to give you 20% of everything Dave Diamond earns. So keep saying Bit of Both. That's a joke, everybody.
I'm going to give you 5 clues regarding a player who played for both Ipswich and Blackburn, and we'll see.
Right, let me just turn the chat off because they'll get it. Yeah. They'll get it before me. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So, Rich got this last week on the first clue, but he was just kind of throwing names out there.
Better than me.
I'm not going to give him that one. So I have to give him a chance to get a hole in one. Do you want that opportunity? If so, name the player.
John Stead.
Wrong. Excellent. Good. Right. Clue number 1, scored 21 goals in 61 appearances for Ipswich.
That's pretty decent, isn't it? But I'm not going to get a hole in one. Next.
Was once named Premier League Player of the Month.
No way.
Whilst playing for Ipswich.
All right, next.
Joined for £3 million from Blackburn.
Marcus Ben.
8. There you go. He got it on 3, yeah.
Did I beat anyone? Let me just bring the chat up. Did I beat the people in the chat? Did anyone get that really, really quickly? No, I think
Rich also said John Stead.
Well, Alex has just said Marcus Ben. Rich is in there on. Oh, yeah, Kookie would have been a play for both. Oh, don't talk about Jordan Rose. Hasn't Jordan Rose just. Is he on the staff?
He's their loan manager.
No.
Yeah, he's their loan manager, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh, well, fair play. I know we lament him moving away from us, but if that's where his life has kind of, ended up and he's happy working up there, then good luck to him. What were the remaining clues for Benty?
The one you got it on was he was joined for £3 million after scoring 8 goals in 37 appearances. You'd have got it on this one. I said Ipswich and Blackburn were 2 of the 18 clubs he played for during his career. So you definitely would have got it on that one.
loopy goal for Blades at Portman Road in a 1-1
in the 1-1 draw.
Would
Yeah.
Warnock have been manager then? Possibly, can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. And then the final one would have been he signed the day after the 1-0 into Milan game, didn't he? Joined
That wouldn't have helped
after.
me. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that might be the easiest one, so I left it to the end. But yeah, Marcus Bent, fair play. You got it on. Was that number 3? That was clue number 3, wasn't it? Yeah. So
yeah.
fair play.
Oh, there you go. Nick reckons he got a hole in one there. Oh, by the way, Colin's mentioning the Mowbray goal at Blackburn. I was in the away end that day in that game as well. Said we also conceded. Lee Carsley scored in about 15 seconds, I want to say, and I don't even think I'm exaggerating. They got a long throw, and literally, that's one of the quickest goals. How quickly did Freddie Sears score it?
That was within 15, 16 seconds, I think.
Yeah, similar. Someone will tell us in the chat the quickest goals ever in Ipswich games. But anyway, that wasn't bad, was it, Marcus?
No, did well. Better than Rich. Rich didn't get the first one at all, I don't think. I had Chef Kikuchi the first time we did this, and he didn't get that one at all. So no, fair play to get it on. To get it on clue number 3 is pretty decent. Let's quickly discuss how they did last time out. So I've already mentioned they won 1-0 away at Watford. New signing, right winger, although he scored the goal off the left. Ryoa Morishita with the goal just after half time. Nice little goal. Have you seen the goal? It's a nice little kind of flick from the Japanese striker played through to him after Cantwell does a sort of a great work on the edge of the box, and it's a really nice finish. Opens up his body and bends it with his right foot kind of past the keeper. 49% possession, 1.45 xG to 0.75. Good evening to all you xG fans watching and in the chat. 14 shots on target. 14 shots, 5 on target. If you've watched the highlights and were as confused as I am, Watford were wearing blue because it was a one-off tribute kit to Elton John. I started to watch it and I thought, I don't get this because I'm seeing the players wearing the wrong kit. So
if you watch the same feed, there was no commentary on it as well. So it took like, what's going on? And do you know, it was Cantwell that I recognised. I was like, he didn't play for Watford. Yeah, exactly
the same because the away kit for Blackburn was almost passable for Watford kind of colours, so I was very confused. But that's why. So yeah, a 1-0 victory last time out away at home. They've kept 2 clean sheets so far this season, so 2 clean sheets in the first 5 games of the season. So solid, not spectacular, but as I mentioned, they are winless at home. Head to head, we do have the advantage. 22 wins for Town, 18 draws between the two, and 17 wins for Blackburn. How many in the chat were there on that downpour day? Good Friday, I think it was, wasn't it? Just before the Sarmiento Southampton game on Easter Monday.
Still my beating heart.
I think it was was it a 5:30 or was it a 7:30? I can't remember.
I was doing a watch along simulcasting on both channels. It was painful, wasn't it? We got in front and a proper Easter running game that one, just clinging on, just win by any means necessary.
Connor Chaplin with the early goal, goalkeeping error by Ainsley Pears, should have saved it. And then they had 3 goals disallowed, I want to say. Schmodic obscuring Klacky's view for one of them, header from a corner, and something else that I can't recall.
I can't even remember, but I'm going to say they were all correctly disallowed.
100%. And then Klacky with that brain fart towards the end, didn't he give the ball right to Schmodic in front of him and then somehow got down to turn it around the post? And yeah, as you said, the overall emotion the away end was just win, and we did hold on. It was a 1-0 victory. I think others that day may have dropped points as well, if I remember rightly. I think we went back to being top of the league.
I think Leeds played at 8 and possibly lost at Watford. And if I'm right about that, that's a ridiculous, pointless thing to know.
And yeah, so our last trip there was excellent. However, traditionally, Ewood Park is not a happy hunting ground for us. The last time before that Good Friday game that we won there in the league was August 1991, a 2-1 victory in the what's it called, Division 1 promotion season. Ask Craig Fimbo if you want details on that one.
Would Dalglish would have been Blackburn manager then, possibly?
Possibly, maybe, yeah. Again, I'm sure someone in the chat will Google it and let us know. And of course, the famous FA Cup replay, January 1996. Paul Mason with the goal. Richard Wright, masterclass against Alan Shearer et al. And then I always give Rich a lineup quiz to make him squirm. I don't normally give him a choice, but I will give you a choice, and you can choose one of these 2 games. You can either have the FA Cup 1-0 victory in January 1996, or I try and choose positive results, and there aren't that many. There was a god-awful crap draw. I was there, a 0-0 draw under Mick in 2016, if you want something slightly more closer to date.
Didn't
So
we
I'll let you
lose
choose one
there
of the two.
when we got in the playoffs? Didn't we lose
Yeah,
there
last
on
day
the
of
last
the season.
day of the season? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I went there as well. Under Lambert, we must have lost because we were awful.
2-0.
So was it 2-0, was it?
Yeah.
I remember Will Keane going through 1-on-1, and that was like the highlight of the game. Obviously didn't score. Okay, well, I'll have a go at the I'll need a lot of help. What year was the FA Cup game? Was it 96, did you say?
96. It's a 4-4-2. It's 96, yeah. 95-96 season. So the first year back down in Division 1.
Burley 96. Okay. Well, obviously Richard Wright.
Yep.
Alex Matthew.
Yep.
Paul Mason, obviously.
No, I think he came off the bench. I haven't got him down as a starter.
Oh, okay.
Off the bench.
Ian Marshall then.
Yep.
Gus Ullenbeek.
Nope.
Mickey Stockwell.
Yep.
Mauricio Tarico.
Yep.
Tony Mowbray.
Yep. Doing well.
Another centre back. I need another centre back, Seb.
Part of the Mark Venus deal.
Steve Sedgley.
Yep. So you've got three of the back four, and you've got one of the midfield. Stockwell. I think Stockwell was almost right wing, I'm guessing.
Oh, okay. George Williams.
Two central midfielders. Yep. Grant Williams. Yep.
Left wing. Petter. No, too early
for his time.
Yeah.
One is still involved in has been interviewed on the podcast, still involved in the club day to day, doing tours and hospitality. And
Simon Milton.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the pleasure of sharing a birthday with me.
Okay, right.
I'm struggling. I didn't get the left back then. Did always Tarico playing left back?
Tarico's left back. The right back was a player who had something to do with the ownership group buying the club a few years ago.
No, you beat me. Frank Yallop.
Frank Yallop, yep.
Wow. You're spoon feeding me these. I'm sure the chat are getting them all. I've turned it off. Did I miss anybody then?
Yeah, Klaus Thompson was the other player.
Do you know what? I'd have been here all day and I'd have not got Klaus Thompson. Yeah, God. So Mason came off the bench, did he?
I guess so, yeah. Unless I've completely read it wrong, but it was Marshall and Matthew up front, so yeah.
There we go. I'll take that. 3 goes. Can I just talk about a couple of the topics that you've brought up? So a couple of the games they've played so far, Blackburn. So the whole game they won really easily. And then Mr. Jakirovic, the whole manager, claimed that there'd been a virus go through the whole squad and they were soft that day for that reason. So I'll hold that against Blackburn. But I've got to say, against Birmingham, they were pretty unlucky to lose that, weren't they? Because that was one of those classic ones where it went 1-1 late and then you got a breakaway in, I don't know, like minute 97 or something like that. And it's one of those moments where you're in the away end and you're like, oh my word, we're scoring from this. And Birmingham come piling up the pitch and score. So just to go with my Blackburn are confusing. By the way, on opening day as well, West Brom fans were telling me that West Brom were excellent for the first half of that game. We won the game 1-0, and Blackburn were actually the better side in the second half. So not only is this a club that's confusing overall over the past few years, but even game to game, Seb, they confuse me. I'm not just setting this up in case anything bad happens, but you don't quite know what you're going to get.
Yeah, very much. I think that's fair. And obviously Norwich, with all the end of the window shenanigans with Nunez joining us and stuff, went up there and put in a pretty decent performance and got themselves a 2-0 victory as well. So, yeah, they can be a bit sort of Jekyll and Hyde at times, can't they? But a couple of clean sheets in there, so they have got a bit of a knack of... And Scott Wharton being back as well is a big plus, isn't it? You know, he's a quality centre-half and he's missed pretty much 18 months with injury and he's back into that back line now. So, yeah, a chance for them to kind of to push on. Should we discuss their transfer business? Because I would file it as risky. Basically, what they've done is they've had 10 new arrivals, 7 have come from the European leagues, and I think all but 2 have got no experience of the Championship. 12 departures and an awful lot of experience has left the club. So the key players that have come in, you've got Andre Gudjohnsen. Everyone ready to feel old? He is the son of Ida Gudjohnsen, the former Bolton and Chelsea striker. He came in for £2 million from Ghent.
I've already mentioned the playoff semi-final here in 2000 now? That's the clear open goal, isn't it, when you mentioned Johnson?
Goal at the Reebok, how good that was. That one where he put it onto his left to fire. And what a player he was. I remember in the relegation season, the 2001 season, I'm sure there were rumours about the time we got Marcus Bent. I'm sure there were rumours that Idy Johnson was going to.
He hadn't gone to Chelsea by then.
I think he was at Chelsea, but I don't think he was playing. I think it was Zola and Hasselbank or something. So that would have been a lovely sign.
He was a great player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Andre Johnson has got good DNA, yeah?
Very much so. I've already mentioned the goal scorer from last week, Morishita. He's come in to fill in that right-hand kind of channel. They've brought in Sydney Tavares, central midfielder, a couple of £1 million from Portugal, and Taylor Garder-Hickman adds a bit of championship know-how on loan from Birmingham. But if I start listing the names that have left the club, Lewis Travis, Andres Wyman, and Danny Barth have all joined John Euston at Derby. Dominic Hyam had played 50 consecutive games for them, £3 million deadline day sale to Wrexham. Callum Britton.
It's good money, isn't it, though? And Brett got good money for Britain as well, you're about to say, aren't you?
Yeah, 2 goals and 5 assists last season. He went to Middlesbrough. John Buckley, a central midfielder, went for £1 million to the Saudi Pro League. And I guess this departure might have caused them to rethink some of their strategy. Tyrese Dolan, who got 7 goals and 6 assists, didn't sign a new contract and went on a free to Espanyol. And the likes of Callum Britton, Dominic Hyam, they were all entering the last year of their contract. And I'm guessing
remember
that Lewis Travis,
Lenihan and Brereton Diaz and Rothwell have all left Blackburn for free in their best players, basically.
Yeah, I think this might have caused a shift into their thinking that they're going to have to cash in on these players when they can, because they can't afford to keep letting quality walk out the door without any kind of money come back the other way. I just think this is a huge risk. We've mentioned Rudy Gestede being the director of football. Absolutely, you could argue that the market in this country is overinflated and that the value to be had is in those European markets. But for me, that's an awful lot of experience to allow to leave, very little experience to come in. I think that's risky. What's your take on their transfer strategy?
Yeah, I would agree. Everyone's just looking for the angle, aren't they? They're looking for the value. And when you see players coming in from Belgium and Poland and Portugal, and I get why people are trying to do it. And we're the bad guys this year because you're up against a team that's just spent 17 million quid on a player that's probably going to be on the bench for the next 3 months as things are kind of building up. I totally agree with you about the experience. And I was doing a bit on Middlesbrough today, and you talk about the value of experience. They've got Ayling, Jones, Britton, Target, and someone else is their back, just complete, most championship back five you can get, and it's kind of working out for them. So yeah, but in some ways I respect it. Although when I know we did it with sort of Paul Hurst, didn't we? Where you just do like a hard reset. And in fact, I guess we did a hard reset with Paul Cook, didn't we, as well? And neither of it really worked. I think the Asian lads, you're seeing that in so many clubs now that's a market that everybody's seeing value in. So in the end, there won't be any value in it because everyone will try and bring in players from that market as well. But I think you're right about them being unproven. But then is there a naive innocence that they just go into it and they're gonna do what they do? What I will say, Seb, is I don't think they planned on selling all of Hyam. Look, they didn't want to sell Travis. He agitated for the move. Yeah. Hyam was really late in the window, and very much like us with Broadhead, it's like we can't turn down that money, the Wrexham money. So, it'll be what it's going to be. Surely there'll be one gem in there that is, you only need one, don't you, that works really well and is then worth 8-10 million and kind of pays for the rest of them. But how high is it going to get you up the league, though?
Yeah, that's the crucial thing, isn't it? I mean, Morishita looks decent so far. I guess he's probably the one they're hoping could fill that Callum Britton kind of right-sided role, vacation, and look to push on. And if someone like Good Johnson can, hit the ground running and start to deliver, then potentially he could be one as well, which hopefully they can do a bit of player trading and get some money in for. I think it's a risky strategy, and I guess we simply won't know until May, will we? If they finish 15th and these players have played 30 games and scored a few goals and have increased the squad value, then
exactly.
Fine. Rudy Gestede Tronstead looks fine. If they're in a relegation battle all season and they're not scoring goals and those players aren't getting any minutes and they're resorting to the tried and tested, then people will look back and say you shouldn't have got that amount of.
Then you're going to sell them all at a loss anyway. At the end of the season, which is not the one. But no, I think you framed it pretty well, Seb. To be honest.
Yeah. Right, let's quickly do tactical pad. Do you want to bring it up on the screen for me, and I will tell the good people watching how they line up and what they do. So it is a 4-2-3-1. I'm sure you'll recognise a couple of names on there. Todd Cantwell, a player known to us from his Norwich connections. Ryan Hedges down the left as well, potentially, and Scott Wharton, I've already mentioned, at the back. If we do our normal and bring it forward to the average player positions, that, as you can see, kind of represents a front two, and it's not the striker Hashi who's the number one kind of advanced player. It's Cantwell and Morishita who look to burst beyond that striker. Hedges and Ribeiro, the left back, kind of dovetail together in that left-hand channel. Tronstead and Tavares are kind of the central midfield screen to protect the back, but it's very much the number 10 and the right winger who push on. It was Morishita who got the goal from the left-hand channel after good build-up from Cantwell and Osh. I'm going to murder his name every time I try and say it.
Yuki Ohashi.
Ohashi. So good play from those three to link up. If we then roll it forward again to the heat map where they touch the ball the most, you will see how far those fullbacks kind of push on. They clearly tried to create some sort of overload down the left-hand side. Cantwell likes to drift in there, and that's basically where he got the ball to start the move for the goal. As I've already discussed, the Morishita and Cantwell are the two that will try and get on the end of things in the box, and those two central midfielders kind of provide that screen along with Carter and Wharton to protect the goalie at the back. So, yeah, interesting that although it's a 4-2-3-1, it looks to be very much a 2 when attacking.
Yeah, lots of fascinating stuff in there. Can we talk about Todd Cantwell then?
Yeah, so let's get it out of the way. So he's got 2 goals so far this season, averages 71 touches per game, only 3 goals and 7 assists last season after signing from Rangers, 120 appearances for that lot up the road. I think it's fair to say, along with Morishita, he's probably their biggest attacking threat and a player we will have to watch. He'll drop all over the place into space, pick the ball up, and yeah, he's an ex-budgie, so we'll have a point to prove against us.
He's a good player, though, isn't he? And
annoyingly,
he's done the thing that Ferguson did with Cantona years ago, where you have I'm not so everybody stop. I'm not comparing Todd Cantwell.
You're comparing Eric
Cantona
Todd
here.
Cantwell.
Don't clip that one out. But no, where you make your mercurial player the captain to sort of try and bring the best out of him. And from what you were showing on those graphics, looks like he's got a bit of a free roll. Make things happen, go get in the box, and there'll always be 2 central midfielders behind you. I guess he was strange at Norwich, wasn't he? Because he had a nice gig in the Championship where Buendia had already destroyed everybody and he could come off the bench and, fill the holes. But he was one of these players who was better in the Premier League than he was in the Championship, which may tell you things about motivation and psychology of the player. But there's something there. You just wonder when a player's gone Premier League and then agitated for a move away from Norwich and fell out with Daniel Farke. And most people argue that it's a downgrade to then go to the Scottish Premier League, even if you are playing for Rangers, and then you're going to Blackburn. So it feels like a career trend down, but definitely a useful player. And he's one of those annoying players who probably would enjoy playing against Ipswich, wouldn't he?
Yeah, very much so. He'll be bang up for it. He'll be a pest. He'll be throwing himself to the ground, I'm sure, under challenges at times to try and, appease his fan, his kind of watching crowd and annoying us. And yeah, we've got to be careful. As I said, 2 goals he's got so far this season. He is a threat for them. A couple of other players, just to quickly mention them. Sondre Tronstead going into the last year of his contract. Sounds like he might well be departing at the end of the season.
Good player.
Yeah, very much so. He'll sit deeper, 3.5 tackles per game. Compare that to Matisiwa, who's currently 2.5, 6 duels, 1 per game. Again, more than Matisiwa. So you're getting an idea of the kind of player that he is. 85% successful pass rate, averaging 5 progressive passes per game, which is the highest in the Blackburn squad. So he will sort of sit in that that metronome role, make them tick, protect the back two, and allow them the more attacking players to kind of go and do their things. They've only got one real injury. Adam Forshaw's not featured this season at all. Scott Wharton has just
Adam
got back
Forshaw's
from...
not featured for about 5 years. Bless him, hasn't he? Yeah.
No, he's had a breakdown in training, so he won't be around. Wharton's just come back from 18 months out at the back, so he's likely to be the central defensive partner alongside Carter now that Dominic Hyam has moved on. So yeah, it'll be interesting how we get on there. And normally I do a little feature about players in their squad who've played for both, but there's no one there with an Ipswich link at the moment. And the only real stats that jumped out for me were that 2 out of their 5 goals this season have come from set pieces. So that's something to watch out for. And they are top for successful tackles per game with an average of 14. So
top in the whole division.
To watch out for there. Top in the whole division, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's Blackburn.
I think that should just about do us for Blackburn. Here's a word from our show partners at Atwells, and we'll be back. And Seb's going to tell you exactly what Kieran McKenna is going to do, though I think we all know what Kieran McKenna is going to do, don't we?
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Thank you to the wonderful people at Atwells and also at One Stop Badges for their continued support of the podcast. Seb, we announced it on Sunday, Blue Monday Live, returning to Portman Road. Come and see us live. Come and chat about the West Brom game. That'll be kicking off at 12:30 on Saturday, 25th October. And then I think it's a 5 o'clock start for us. So they've got to turn around the room that we're in over in hospitality there. And you will see that Richard has just gifted 5 Blue Monday memberships. Why has he done that, Seb? Well, obviously we're very kind here at Blue Monday, but there's a lovely deal we've got going. So it's £10 for a ticket to come into the show. But if you're a Telegram member or a top tier member, which you can by grabbing a membership name, grab one for free, a little trial there, have one on us. It'll only be £5 for your ticket, Seb. So it's a kind of a no-brainer. If you want to come to the show, you may as well have a month of Telegram or a month of top tier. Great Telegram community. And the top tier stuff is going from strength to strength. We've got George and Henry with the predictions stuff coming tomorrow. We have Adam and Oscar on Monday with the Beyond the Scoreline show, looking at the nerdy data. I'm sure they wouldn't mind me saying. And some of the written stuff has been absolutely brilliant from Jack and the written team. So yeah, please get involved. Blue Monday Live. I've got to say, Seb, I love doing the podcast, and it's a great thrill, even in the midweek doing the preview, knowing that people are watching. But you can't beat meeting everybody in the flesh in the live show. And you were there at the last one, weren't you?
Yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant occasion. Totally encourage everyone to come along. It's a great chance for everyone to mix and mingle and chat Ipswich. And yeah, we've had a couple of excellent guests in the past. I'm sure the guest that will be attending this one will be in the same kind of caliber. So yeah, please make a note in your calendars. After the West Brom game, hopefully we'll get a victory. Was it the first 2 we hadn't won? There was one when I was there in the relegation season. I wasn't on the podcast at the time, but did we get a very late equaliser against Stoke?
Did we?
Stoke,
yeah.
Rings a bell.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had it was the Brandon Williams game, wasn't it? The one in the promotion season when he scored.
There was one in between when I was working at ITV, so I actually wasn't there on that one where we had Russell Osman there as well.
Of course, yes.
I can't remember the game.
We lost. Was that Cheltenham or Lincoln?
Oh my
I remember
God.
we lost that one. We kind of thought we were a curse for a while, but that was broken last time with the Brandon Williams sort of run against Plymouth, was it? Swansea?
Preston.
I can't remember. Preston, yes. The 4-2 victory over Preston last time. So hopefully we can all get round the table and discuss the victory over West Brom after we hit this epic run of form following the 5-0 victory over Sheffield United last week. So yeah, absolutely. Get your tickets, sign up to Telegram, sign up to Top Tier, get a £5 discounted ticket and a month of quality content.
Yeah. Get involved. Ticket links everywhere. Colin's asking if you can pay on the door. Colin, if you send myself or Richard a DM on social, we'll stick your name on the door. And yes, of course, you can pay on the door, my friend. Right. Is that all the pluggery done? No. Apparently, there will be a podcast on Sunday night, the Blue Monday flagship show. It's me again. I'm sorry. But don't worry. The great David Diamond will be on. You can listen to him, and the great Joe Fairs as well, with all the wonderful analysis of hopefully the team that Seb's very predictably gonna predict in a minute is gonna do us proud. But yeah, we just won 5-0, Seb. So let's set this one up for Blackburn. Did tactics go out the window and hashtag Paul Lambert? You don't change a winning team.
You don't change anything, do you? I mean, this time last week, I sat here. I think Rich did back me up. I said that Jaden Philogene might come out the side and Jack Clark probably deserves a start.
Right.
So
that's disgraceful, Seb.
That, along with my 1-1 cagey draw prediction, shows that I don't know what I'm talking about. So, of course, I'm going to recommend no changes. Everything I would keep exactly the same. I thought Darnell Furlong, right back, was excellent against Sheffield United. So, just slotted in effortlessly. There was some debate about Ashley Young versus him. I think Ashley Young is available, McKenna has said in the pre-match press conference. But Furlong, for me, is keeping the shirt. The centre-backs and the left-back, no-brainer. Kiyust, thankfully, he went down, didn't he, at the North Stand end with his knee, and we all winced a little bit, but sounds like he's absolutely fine. Matasiwa is getting better game after game after game. Akpom, I thought, added physicality in the number 10 role. McAteer was running all evening. Philogene was the star man, and George Hurst got that goal as well. So I would not change anything. I guess the only discussion point, and we'll kind of hand it over to George and Henry tomorrow on the kind of alternative pre-match show. Is there a chance that Sammy Schmodic gets a chance in the number 10 role against his former club at Ewood Park? Because he'd be bang up for that. That's the only thing I can possibly consider. Assuming everybody is fit, is there a chance Schmodic comes in for Akpom? Other than that, you can't change anything, can you?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. If this were the start of a 3-game week, particularly if it went away, home, we would be having a different discussion now, because you would have to prep for the week. But that's actually going to be happening the following week. And we've seen McKenna try his utmost to, form the bonds between the players and keep, even though the results haven't been great for the first 4 games, keep everything completely the same. And there is just no downside to winning 5-0, is there? Because even with your Schmodic's thing, you can then move that narrative to, oh, they've got Schmodic's on the bench and he's clearly going to come in at some point, and he was the top scorer in the championship and he used to play and he knows this stadium, and football law says Schmodic's will score against Blackburn even if you put him on at 65 or 70 or 75. So yeah, it's just a massive help. Was there anything in the presser? Everybody clean bill of health, is it?
Yeah, unless McKenna's playing games, everyone seemed fit, and it sounds like Wes Burns is going to sort of come back into training after the international break, so he's not a million miles away either, which is all great news. So, yeah, I guess Ipswich Old Boy there in the chat asking Nunez in for Kiyust. Kiyust going down at the North Stand was a concern, especially the way he seemed to jar his knee, but McKenna said he's come through absolutely fine, and I thought Kiyust and Matasiwa were absolutely excellent against Sheffield United. Kiyust is too good for this level based on what we've seen in the brief couple of appearances he's made. So, as you said, if it was a 3-match week, if this is going to be the, Pompey, Bristol City, Norwich week, then yeah, you're talking about rotation and trying to plan.
That's come around quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah, it is. The midweek games are starting very, very soon, everyone. That would be one that you kind of look at some squad planning. But given that we don't play again after this one for another 7 days until the Pompey game at Portman Road next Saturday, I don't think you change anything, do you?
Yeah, and I think more than ever, when you are now the year 1 parachute team, it's such a squad game, isn't it? You're almost, and Joe was making this point, that it's all well and good having good players on the pitch. You need good players on the bench as well. And we are going to go into thick and fast mode if you factor in the 3-game week to follow up to October the 4th. You're going to be playing 4 games in pretty quick succession, aren't you? So there is going to be games where you're just not playing well. you're struggling, and then it is break glass in case of an emergency. And it's not an issue to bring in Nunes or Migueli or pick your poison, Smodics, Clark.
Jack Clark. It sounds ridiculous. In the League One promotion season, we were discussing the finishers and how Freddie Ladapo and Marcus Harness would come off the bench, and now the names we reel off. I mean, if you're Ben Godfrey and you've been torn apart by Jaden Philogene, his number goes up, and you think, right, I've got some respite, and suddenly Jack Clark's the one coming on to replace him. As you say, opposition.
Is Ben Godfrey the new Russell Martin on this podcast? I feel I need to start standing up for the poor fellow. He's been absolutely ripped a new one by everybody this past week.
I guess if he, I suggest that Ben Godfrey's probably had more success in his career than Russell Martin. I'll throw that one at you. But yeah, if you're kind of looking at the quality that these sides can bring off the bench, it must be so soul destroying for them. And yeah, all the Blackburn fans, all the Blackburn squad are going to know that it's going to get to 65, 70 minutes, regardless of the scoreline. If we're chasing the game, if we're trying to preserve the lead, if we're comfortable in the game, there's going to be absolute quality coming off that bench. And yeah, what a position to bring in. As has been said many times on this podcast, we are the baddies, aren't we?
We are very, very much the baddies, and I'm here for it. How do you think then, particularly in terms of, I mean, it's Nunes and Migueli, the ones that we're excited about. How do you think they're going to be used between now and October the 4th?
Well, I think Migueli might have to be a little bit patient and kind of get what he got at the last weekend. Cameo appearances as he's getting up to speed with how we play and stuff. I mean, he's not afraid to have a shot, is he? That left-footed rocket he's got on him is going to be quite a weapon. Nunez in the 3-game week, I'd be staggered if Karius were to start all 3 games: Pompey, Bristol City away, and then Norwich at home. So clearly, for one of those, Nunez will come in, and then I guess you've got a decision to make around the derby where he is clearly going to want to play in that game, and you've got to work out who's in the best run of form going into it. It's not that far away now. What is it? 3 weeks, 2 weeks away now. So we'll be sat here. In fact, you're with me for that one as well, aren't you? Because Rich is off for that one as well, I think. So you and me will be sat here doing the Norwich City preview in a couple of weeks' time. And
longest week of my life, that is, bloody derby week. I tell you, I'll be previewing that game 500 times over. And what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to predict a different score every show I'm on. There is going to be a clamour for Nunes to start against Norwich, isn't it? But again, it would be nice to, that's going to be a complete circus, and to bring him off the bench, it's just a massive, I use it with my 4-year-old daughter, the massive distraction tactic at some point is fairly powerful, isn't it? But yeah, I, like you, would be flabbergasted if there's any changes to that 11 on Saturday, Seb.
Yeah, unless there's an injury we don't know about. It sounds like everyone's good to go. You just simply don't change it. You probably might not change it for Pompey, depending how the weekend goes, and then you're into some proper rotation for the midweek games that start coming thick and fast.
Yeah, and he's been the master of that. Guys, we got about 7-8 minutes to go. If you want to ask Seb any questions, get them in the chat right now. Stick a little Q before then. Helps us out for the last few minutes of this one. Are we going to the predictions now then, Seb?
Yeah, can do, may as well. Do you think we're going to keep back-to-back clean sheets, given we basically have kept no clean sheets for most of this year? I can't see us keeping a clean sheet, but I think we will go there and win. They haven't won at home yet, like I've said. I think they've got useful players, so I think they will score, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 Ipswich win on Saturday. Back-to-back wins for the first time since Coventry and Huddersfield, and hopefully that'll then start off this run that we're all looking forward to. So for me, a 2-1 win for Town.
Yeah, get your predictions in the comments. 2-1 is popular, Seb, because I was doing the show with Sam Parkin over on the Benjamin Bloom football channel, and he took 2-1, which meant I had to take 2-0. But unfortunately, we both backed an Ipswich win. I mean, if you removed all kind of emotion from it and took us out of the situation, because part of us is like, we desperately want Ipswich to win because we're fans, and part of us is, oh, we desperately want Ipswich to win, so they're going to mess it up somehow. But if you were going in, trying to be objective about it, one squad's clearly better than the other, and that 5-0 was a bit of a coming out party. So I'm going to guess, the money is going to be on an away win in this one, even with our non-dispassionate position here.
It's got to be, isn't it? We've got to go into it with full optimism. And yeah, I think 2-1. I just can't see a second successful clean sheet. I think it'd be a great statement.
Why did you say that, mate?
Because we just can't keep clean sheets, isn't it? A new club record that we've seen. I know a lot of that has been against Premier League elite level attacking players, but from Chelsea to last weekend against against Sheffield United, we haven't kept any clean sheets, including 3 or 4 games so far at this level. So I just think we've always got a potential brain fart in us, maybe the way we play with the high line and the space we're leaving behind, looking to attack and go forward. So I'd be amazed if we kept 2 clean sheets back to back. Obviously, I hope we do, because that would be quite a statement for the likes of O'Shea and Furlong and Jacob Greaves and Alex Palmer. But I think we've got more than enough firepower at the other end of the pitch to make up for those deficiencies. So yeah, I'll stick with a 2-1. And as we've said already, if it gets to 60 minutes and we're 1-0 down or it's 1-1,
get Smodic in there.
Bring off, yeah, Smodic on, Jack Clark on, Ivan Azon. I thought looked decent when he came on for George Hurst. We've got so many options. Then we can change things up and look to go. So 2-1. The run starts, back-to-back victories, warming up nicely for the derby.
Oh my God. Every time I'm like, right, I'm going to be chilled out about this year. It's not gonna be that. At least it's a 3-game week, so you're kind of not concentrating on it until the Thursday. But I'm booked on the bloody Sportsman podcast. Spoiler alert. With a friendly guest that is a mate of mine. So we'll be going head to head on the Monday as well, before we play midweek, which will be an interesting one, won't it? The betting here does have us as favourites here.
Yeah, I would think we probably will be in pretty much every game this season, won't we? That's the way it's going to go, given the riches that we have. And obviously the chat is incredibly positive. Some of the scores that are coming in, we've got the 3.
Yeah, shall I go through these? I mean, it's a Ipswich Town podcast, but it's nice to see the confidence there. 2-0, 2-0, 3-1, 3-0. Famous last words, these. 2-0, 3-1, 3-1, 3-0. Don't think anyone's got us under 1.5 goals here, have we? Let's try and click through as many of these as is possible. But yeah, you would right now, you just take the 3 points however it comes, but you want to see the viability of Friday night tested a little bit.
Yeah, very much. So let's see how good we kind of really are. It's a very different game to Sheffield United. They had major tactical deficiencies. I don't think an Ishmael side will have that. They'll be kind of, set up strong at the back with the likes of Carter and Wharton. So important that Hurst can kind of win those battles, drag them out of position to create the space for the 3 in behind. But we have to be confident. We're going to have to win these kind of games. Let's be honest. We're going to have to win, across the season. We're going to have to win probably 30 games of football if we want to get ourselves promoted.
We won so many muscle memory games in. This was one of them in 23, 24. Remember, like going to Bristol City and just do it 1-0. Watford, wait for the mistake. We won so many games, and I forget who was saying it the other day. It's quite good. It's quite a good bit of insight on a podcast I was listening to. He said basically you split the games into 3, and 15 you'll play well, and 15 you'll muscle memory, and you probably play badly in the other 15 if you're 45, 46, and it's so true. Get questions in for Seb. Paul asks, who'd have thought Burgess had a finish like... I haven't actually seen this. This is for Swans against Forest last night, yeah?
Yeah, amazing. I hadn't twigged it was him at first, because the way it was finished was more like a left winger or a striker. Yeah, what a hero. Seeing Amari Hutchinson on the pitch as well was good to see. But yeah, it falls to him. The guy hits the bar, falls to him. An absolute rocket with that left foot. Delighted for him. Huge moment. Great performance. Great comeback from 2-0 down. Yeah, what a finish by Cameron Burgess. Looking forward to him coming back to Portman Road so we can say goodbye to him.
Zorro Ark outside shout for Ugelli. Outside shout. I did not mean to swear then. That won't get us demonetised, will it? Or perhaps Bristol City. That feels like the one. Is that in the middle of the 3-game week?
Yeah, that's the Tuesday night game, isn't it, away? So that's the most likely one I would suggest. I think McAteer, I mean, the running he puts in is exactly what McKenna wants in that role. So I assume he will keep the place. And yeah, Ugelli probably starts one of those 3 in the 3-game week that's coming up pretty quickly.
Just makes me miss Broadhead. Those were the times where it's like, right, we need some help in midweek. He's been rested at the weekend. Get him in there. It's Bristol City. There you go. He scored the winner, didn't he? Paul, are we the bad guys now? Yes, we very much are. I think we can answer that in 1 second. Michael, is this year's long throw last year's inverted fullback. What are you talking about, Michael? Can you answer
We're starting
that?
to see these. Yeah, we're starting to see these trends come back, aren't we? A lot of Premier League sides take a kick-off now and aim it straight for the to win a throw-in straight down the other end of the pitch to launch a long throw. So we're starting to see things that were frowned upon 10, 15 years ago come full circle. I'm looking forward to seeing Furlong's throw because it's huge. I remember being at the Hawthorns and seeing him do it a couple of times, and it is a monster. We didn't see it on against Sheffield United, did we? But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it in action. It's a useful weapon to have.
And Luke Chambers said it so well after one of the derbies ones. Sometimes it's just the narrative and the feeling it gives defenders, that pause in game and that theatre of everything stopping. And, Luke said it makes you feel like you've been defending for ages, even when you haven't. So it's a very useful, I know we don't particularly like the dark arts, but it's a very useful dark art in terms of just flipping the narrative in a game where maybe you want to give the effective territory that you might not have had. Last one here, Norman said, when is Rich's forfeit happening? Blue Monday Live, yeah?
Yeah, so me and Rich discussed this last weekend. It's the first time I've seen him since the end of the season. And basically, I'm useless. So he had a go at me and he's going to sort it. I've told him what to do and he's going to sort it. So it will be happening. He'll be wearing it at Blue Monday Live. Another few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, and photos will be taken. Seb, always an absolute pleasure to come on and do the pre-match with you. It's a night off for me because I get presented with a whole load of research, and I love your input, mate. So great to chat to you.
Yes, thank you very much for hosting. An excellent host. Nice to have a quality host. I say this always, every time, just to bury him. But yeah, tune in next week. Everyone will be back. Obviously, Rich is back, I think, for Portsmouth, and then me and Ben again in a couple of weeks' time for the big one against Norwich.
Yeah. Well, look, let's just get an away win out of the way this weekend, and I'll see you for the flagship on Sunday, everyone.